Hey guys, so today we are doing another live finger and brush swatch video, and today it is the new Flower Beauty by Charlie's Angels eyeshadow palette. And I think I need to give a little bit of a backstory in terms of why I purchased this palette and how it came to be in my collection. So one of my, if you want to call it like a New Year's resolutions, is to, I guess, not buy makeup just for the sake of reviewing it on YouTube. I want to make sure that I'm bringing things into my collection that I actually want to use and enjoy outside of YouTube. This is kind of an exception to that, and it just kind of felt like serendipity that I went to CVS yesterday. My husband got his booster shot, and I just walked past and I saw this display and I picked it up. So I did have a lot of like extra bucks and coupons that were going to expire, so I thought I might as well. I think I only ended up paying maybe like 50 cents out of pocket, so I felt okay picking it up that way. And at my CVS anyway, the original price was $18.49. And obviously if you live near a CVS, you're probably familiar with their coupons and extra bucks that you get and all that sort of thing. And I think they also send out 40% off coupons once a week, give or take. So you can definitely get this at a very reduced price if you are so inclined. And when I did purchase it yesterday, I actually ended up going to two different CVS's back to back because my husband's appointment was at one and then I had to pick up a prescription at a different CVS. And they both had this display. So for each display there were 3 palettes. It was one of those kind of like standalone little cardboard things that they set up. And I didn't check every single palette, but at least in one of them, this is just the exterior packaging. There's no box or anything. It does have this piece of tape here. So if you do purchase this in store, make sure that that is still sealed. I cut it open to take a look at it once I purchased it. But there was one that had already been opened. So just be aware of that. So each CVS had 3 of these in their little display, but like I said, one was kind of tampered with. And if you do see it at your local CVS, it might be one of only a few. I did check yesterday to see if it was on the Flower Beauty website, and as of yesterday, it wasn't, but today it is. Hey guys, so editing me popping on to say that something kind of bizarre just happened. I'm editing this, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes after I finished filming, and I was going back to that same page to pull some pictures and more information, that kind of thing, and I'm getting an error message. So I pulled the same link from my history, and when I go to that page, I'm getting a 404 error message. So I'm not sure if they uploaded that page inadvertently or too early or something, but yeah, as of editing, it's not showing up. So hopefully it'll be up there soon. I'll have the link to the page I was looking at down in the description bar, but I just wanted to let you know that it's been kind of a wild ride in terms of finding the palette on the Flower Beauty website. So I thought it would be interesting just to kind of go over some of the information they have on the website. So I don't think I've purchased anything from Flower Beauty, especially eyeshadow, that I can recall. So I don't have anything against the brand or Drew Barrymore or anything like that, but I guess haven't been compelled to purchase anything from them before. I think a lot of people kind of roasted this palette and the color story when it was first released, so curiosity kind of got the best of me. But anyway, as of today, Friday, January 7th, the palette is on the Flower Beauty website, and interestingly enough, it is $20 on the Flower Beauty website. I was thinking it might be marked up more at CVS because they just tend to be a little bit more expensive when it comes to some of their drugstore beauty products. At Flower Beauty, you can get maybe 15% off if you sign up for their emails, and I think they have free shipping on $30 purchases. So if you wanted to throw something else into your cart with this palette, then you could get free shipping. And I'll go through the shade descriptions as I swatch them. This is cruelty-free, and I didn't see carmine in the ingredients. If you are vegan or sensitive to carmine. Of course, double check that for yourself, but I don't think it's being marketed as a vegan palette, but I just did a quick look for that. So it says how to use mix and match matte eyeshadow and metallic eyeshadow shades as desired to create your perfect eyeshadow look. Apply metallic and multi-reflective shimmer eyeshadow shades with fingers or a slightly dampened eyeshadow brush. For best results, use our Flower Beauty Shade and Blend eyeshadow brush for extra payoff. So if you're not familiar with how I do my swatch videos, with the matte shades, I do a finger and a dry brush swatch, and I'll go over the brushes that I use. And then with metallic or shimmer shades, I use a finger, a dry brush, and a wet brush. So I think that's it as far as the information on the website. So I'll just kind of walk you through the palette itself. So that is the side. It says Flower Beauty Eyeshadow Palette Charlie's Angels. And what I didn't realize from like the initial promo pictures or anything on Trend Mood or wherever it was, and something that they don't really, I don't think, talk about on their website or anything, is that I think this is meant to look like a DVD case or Blu-ray case. And I think that is especially apparent on the back here. So I just grabbed another Drew Barrymore Blu-ray here. I don't own Charlie's Angels, or I would have grabbed that, but maybe I'll put a picture of what at least one release of the Blu-ray looks like as far as the cover goes. I just thought it would be really interesting to kind of show you and just compare some of the different design elements here. So as you can see, this is not as big as a Blu-ray. It's a little bit smaller, and I don't know, let's see here. Okay, so I just grabbed a actual DVD, I think, which might be even bigger than the Blu-ray. So that's one comparison, and of course I don't know if different Blu-ray cases might be different or whatever, but and then I did grab like a Nintendo, which is maybe a little bit longer. So if you are curious about such things, this is, it looks like about 4.5 inches wide by maybe 6.25 inches tall, and then it's pretty thin. I'd say it's less than 1/2 inch. So it's not like a true replica of a Blu-ray or DVD case, but I think that's definitely what they're trying to evoke here. I like that, if it'll focus, I like that they have this on the side, kind of like a Blu-ray case would. And then on the back here, it has like these quotes. So just to put those side by side, so up here from Drew Barrymore, it says, "Bold shadow pigments that pack a serious punch. You're not going to want to miss this." And then those are the shades. The sultry Dylan Sanders returns. Recreate Drew Barrymore's captivating looks with our epic throwback palette. Explosive payoff meets stellar pigments, guaranteed to give you eyes to kill. And it has special features, which I think is cool because, you know, often a Blu-ray will have certain special features. I don't think this one seems to. This does. You can see this old Lord of the Rings DVD had a bunch of special features here. And then very small here, we have all the ingredients, kind of like you would have, I don't know, all the different kind of legalese or, you know, the different producers and that kind of thing on the back. This does have a 12-month shelf life. It says it's made in Taiwan. And Flower is a trademark of Papillon Productions. Has copyright 2021 Columbia Pictures Industries, all rights reserved. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, so I think that is it for the case. And then when you open it up, it has, of course, Drew Barrymore here. It doesn't have a mirror, obviously. It just had this kind of covering the shades, so kind of a circular cover with a tab. And then this, I think, is meant to look like, you know, the actual kind of physical piece where like the disc would be held. So, you know, they have these, I don't know if you younger kids or whatever remember actual physical Blu-rays. I jest. But anyway, yeah, so this is kind of supposed to look like the disc, I think. So I think that's all I wanted to kind of cover about the packaging before I get into some swatches. So I'll just quickly talk through the products that I use. So I have a bunch of this Lorac behind the scenes eye primer that I use. So I do apply it on a primed arm, and I've just kind of collected a fair bit, and it's easy to dispense onto a larger surface area like an arm. So anyway, I'm using that until it kind of runs out. And then as far as brushes go, I have two here. I have the Rephr number 2, which is a natural hair shader like the MAC 239, before MAC made theirs all synthetic. But anyway, this is the same shape as the MAC 239. And then this is the Rephr number 21 brush, which is very similar to the MAC 242. And this is a blend of natural and synthetic hairs, and this is what I use for the wet brush swatches. I actually have 2 of those, and sometimes I try to keep one for wet swatches and one for dry swatches, so I might try to do the same here. And to wet my brush, I have this Tarte Maracuja Miracle Mist. It has a nice kind of aerosolized fine dispenser. And then I think this is the debut of the Sigma switch that I purchased. So I've said for countless videos now that I've been using this little sample of a Sigma brush cleaning glove to function kind of the same way. But I finally got the actual product that I've been talking about, and as you can see, this is bigger than what I had been using. It also has kind of dedicated areas for different products that you're changing out, and it is dual-sided. So that is what I will be using to remove shadow, and I think that's it. So the game plan I kind of have here is, I don't know if you'll be able to tell that you can kind of look at this as 2 quads. At least that's how I'm going to kind of treat it. You can obviously combine whichever shades you want. But this half here, going from I've Come Undone to the Chad, that seems to be kind of a more neutral leaning warm quad. And then this half here seems a little bit more mauve-y, so from Fast Everything to Dylan. So I'm going to do this quad and then follow it up with this quad. I think that's just gonna be a little bit easier than trying to fit all 8 shadows onto my arm. And if I didn't already say, this has a net weight of 0.25 ounces or 7.2 grams. So you're getting less than a gram per shadow. Okay, so I've applied the primer and I've tried to give it, you know, a little bit of time to set there, and made sure that my fingers and everything are fairly dry. So going into these first 4 here, we have I've Come Undone, which is a soft matte, and they call that a neutral beige. We have Angel's Eye, which is a creamy metallic, and this is a champagne shimmer. And I will give you kind of a close-up of the palette after I finish swatching it here. We have Starfish, which is another creamy metallic. This is a bronze shimmer. And finally we have the Chad, which is another matte, and this is a warm reddish brown. I will say that when I first kind of opened this when I got it home, I was just kind of impressed by how reflective and shiny some of these metallics looked. So hopefully that translates onto the arm. Okay, so we have I've Come Undone, Angel's Eye, which looks really pretty, and then Starfish. As you can see, there was a little bit of chunk there that I had to kind of smooth out. And then finally, the Chad. Okay, so swatching this matte shade. think definitely a little bit more pigmented with a finger, but it seems like it has that kind of nice, almost satin look to it that some mattes have. And you can see to remove it, I'm just kind of going like that. And then I'll go ahead and skip over to this one while I'm holding the brush. So those are the two matte shades from this quad, as it were. Okay, so going in with a dry brush into Angel's Eye. This has kind of like a flaky texture to it, so you can build it up, but I think if you want to minimize fallout, I would definitely recommend doing as they suggest and either using a finger or a dampened brush. So this one is Starfish. So as I've said before, if you don't want to use your finger for whatever reason, you can buy some of those foam applicators. They probably sell some at CVS actually. I don't know if this palette is coming to Ulta or anywhere else, but those will probably give you the closest approximation of a finger without actually using a finger. And as far as dampening a brush, there are two different ways you can do it. I think if you have difficulty picking up a shade, I would recommend wetting the brush and then going into the shade. But if you're able to pick up a decent amount and you want to kind of ensure the integrity of your shadows and their longevity, I would recommend trying to pick it up and then spraying it to see if that kind of gets you to where you want to be. So I'm not sure that really did anything terrific. So I just wet the brush again, and I think, as you can see, I was able to pick up a lot more. And with this technique, you definitely kind of almost get that kind of like clumping where you have to kind of spread it out a little bit. So that is Angel's Eye. And going into Starfish, again, I did wet the brush first. And sometimes what I like to do is to use a brush for like the initial application, just to kind of, you know, place it on my eyelid where I want it, and then tap on the shade over it with a finger just to kind of build up the intensity. So you can kind of take a hybrid approach as well. So that is the first row. And we'll zoom in here. Okay, so this is, I've come undone with a finger and a brush. This is Angel's Eye with a finger, dry brush, wet brush. It's a really nice shine to it. This one is Starfish, so that is finger, dry brush, and wet brush. And then finally we have the Chat, and that is finger and dry brush. Okay, so I've re-primed my arm here, so going into the second half, we have Fast Everything, which is a creamy metallic. That is a copper shimmer. Independent Woman, which is a matte, and this is a deep warm brown. Feels a little bit drier, but I don't think that's unusual for kind of a darker matte. Good Morning Charlie is a matte, and that is a mauve pink. And then Dylan is a metallic, and that is a deep red shimmer. So those are the other shades there. And we have Fast Everything, Independent Woman, Good Morning Charlie, and Dylan. That's a bit of fuzz. All right, so I'm going to swatch the mattes again first, just to kind of get them out of the way. And I'm gonna swatch Good Morning Charlie before Independent Woman because it's a lighter color, and just in case there's any staining or anything. Again, it does take, I think, a little bit of building up if you want to kind of get that same level of pigment as you would with a finger, but I think that should blend pretty well for you. And then same dry brush, this is Dylan. And you can see I'm not trying to tap off my brush, so you might be able to see some of that fallout. As usual, you can either start with your eyes before you do your base, or you can, you know, just try and tap off your brush and go in with a lighter hand so you don't have any fallout. All right, so going back into Dylan with the wet brush and spray that to see how it does. I always try to recreate the same kind of conditions that I have with the first row of swatches, but you know, I'm not working with kind of brand new clean brushes. So there's always that to consider, but I think that did pretty well across all different methods here. And then finally going back to the first shade, this is Fast Everything. So I don't know if those two metallic shades just picked up a little bit better on the brush. Go ahead and wet it again and then go back into Fast Everything. I think, like I said, when you get kind of too foiled, it can be a little bit harder to kind of distribute evenly, but you do get more of that kind of high metallic shine if you do that. All right, so that is the second half at a glance. And if we zoom in here, so we have Dylan, finger, dry brush, wet brush. Good Morning Charlie, finger and brush. Hopefully everything is kind of staying in focus. And then we have the second matte here. We have Independent Woman. That is a finger and a dry brush. And then finally we have Fast Everything. So finger, dry brush, I guess wet brush applied with the product first, and then wet brush with the Tarte applied first. And as promised, there is the close-up of the palette after I've finished swatching it. So as far as, I guess, my impressions and my recommendations, obviously I haven't applied this to my eyes. It was a brand new palette when I started swatching it. I might try doing a look with it tomorrow. We're going out to do some grocery shopping, that kind of thing, so I might apply it to see how it does on the eyes. I might film like another just quick little video with that look separately, just in the interest of time and all that. So yeah, so I'll let you know how it works on the actual eyes, but I think doing swatches with brushes kind of gives you a good idea of how it's going to apply, how brushes pick it up and that kind of thing. And to be honest, I'm kind of impressed by this formula and how well it did. I think it should apply as well as it did given the price point, especially on the Flower Beauty website. You're really kind of creeping out of the drugstore territory with a $20 palette, I think, especially for just 8 shades. But I think it did live up to it, and if you are kind of a huge Charlie's Angels fan, or I don't know, you're just a collector and the form factor and everything kind of appeals to you, then I think you can still get a lot of really kind of neutral but beautiful looks out of this palette. And I haven't even watched Charlie's Angels recently, so I couldn't tell you if Dylan looks like she's wearing these shades, but I think there's certainly shades that a lot of people will find very wearable and can get a lot of use out of. So that is going to be it for this swatch video. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this type of video and would like to see more. And I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.